first Nile crocodile feed of the day. Now, inside this enclosure, we have 34 juvenile Nile crocodiles. And the Nile crocodile is the world's second largest species of crocodilian. So even though inside this enclosure, every single one of these crocodiles is a female, they're still going to grow to about 2.5 to 3 meters long. Now, the male Nile crocodile could grow to the same size as this platform I'm stood on right now. So even though these girls are still going to grow to 10 feet, we often get the question, what are you going to do with them when they get bigger? Because you've got 34 of them that are going to get very big. And they will stay here with us, but eventually they will end up in an enclosure that is larger than this entire building we're in now, just for this group of animals here. So there is a long-term plan for them. And as part of that long-term plan, we work with this group to let them know they do not get food on the land. The land is where we go to clean the glass and change the light bulbs and get people's cameras back and all that kind of stuff like that. So they know they have to come into the water to get their food. And that helps us when we want to pick out particular crocodiles. And the reason I say that is crocodiles don't really need to eat lots and lots of food. So if we only had 2 or 3 crocodiles in here, we'd only be up 2 or 3 times a week to feed them. But because we've got so many, we come up every day and we selectively try and pick out the ones we want to feed. So I know coming up yesterday, there's certain crocodiles in here that I make sure I want to get fed today because they didn't get any yesterday. And it goes around like that. I'm going to feed on both sides so we get to see. But what you are going to see is how crocodiles use their tails to jump out of the water. This is a natural way they catch bats and birds from trees and things like that. Great exercise for them and gives you an idea of how athletic they can be as well. And you'll also hear when they come up to grab their food, the reason why we use these tongs and these grabbers and not our hands. So they can, and even at this size, when they're having things like they're having now, this chicken with the bones and everything in here, they can still break through those bones even at this size. So even though they're only 6 years old, they have a strong enough bite to do this. And they will digest everything in the food item they're getting today. So all of the bones and the meat and absolutely everything, crocodilians can go ahead and digest this with no problem whatsoever. You will also see at certain times it will look like I'm teasing them, I'm taking food away from them. And I'm not teasing them, I'm trying my best to make sure that some of the rounder ones are not getting all the food. So you try and pick out some of these smaller ones, some of the average sized ones, make sure they get some. Some of the larger ones, like that one over there. We've also got Lucy and Chunks, which are 2 of the biggest crocodiles, and they swim up and down the channel, right in the bottom. It's about 6.5 foot deep at the bottom. And they swim up and down there and try and pick up any food that's left over by the other crocodiles. Now also you would have noticed, if you see me coming up with the box, I haven't brought a lot of food up with me. So a lot of people will often come up with food and they think we're going to come up with, you know, a deer or something like that. And generally what we're trying to do is we come up every day with these small amounts of food, and this is going to help us pick out the ones we want to feed. So little and often is the name of the game for feeding these guys here. If we came up with one really big piece of food, yeah, they would come up and feed naturally, but of course we couldn't ensure a lot of the smaller ones would actually get it. And also, when you look in the water, you will see there are a few hundred fish in this enclosure. And the reason why the fish are in here is to try and help us keep the pool nice and clean, so they'll tidy up any of the food that's left over. And also, we get the question, why don't the crocodiles eat the fish then? And the reason for that is because these crocodiles are a bit spoiled, and they do know we're going to come up with food every single day. So they have a choice between either chasing fish around for a few hours, not catching any, wasting energy. One thing crocodiles are very good at is not wasting energy. You probably noticed that today. So they wait for us to come up with the food. You're quite round, you know.